Today at Lakeland Winery, we're going to be making a wine from a juice concentrate. Juice concentrate is the most fastest growing form of wine made today in Canada and is spreading across the United States like wildfire. Today we're going to be making a wine made by wine expert. It's called the Sonoma Valley Pinot Noir. Now, a juice concentrate is real juice made from grapes crushed into the Sonoma Valley by the vineyard in the Sonoma Valley. What happens is they send their juice up to be processed and put into these small containers which get shipped to us. Each of these containers makes 6 gallons. Today we're going to be making our first batch of wine for you. Inside of this box there are certain ingredients. Most of this is juice. And there's a couple bags of toasted oak for flavoring. And there's some other ingredients, like yeast. The yeast is going to culture the juice into alcohol. We have bentonite. Bentonite is a colloidal clay meant to stick to the juice particles to keep the juice in suspension during the fermentation. It also helps in the settling aid process of winemaking. We have a packet of potassium metabisulfite that's used to sterilize any bacteria that may have been in the wine, and potassium sorbate. Potassium sorbate is going to also aid in the killing of, or the sterilization of the yeast, to keep that wine from fermenting at a later stage when we want to stop the fermentation process. And finally, there's the isinglass. The isinglass is used to flocculate the juice particles in the yeast so that everything settles out at the appointed time. What we're going to do first is rinse and sterilize this primary container. We add a solution of potassium metabisulfite. Spray a little bit more in to sterilize the bucket. Next we're going to add our bentonite. Right now we're adding some hot water. Here's the bentonite. Remember, the bentonite is a colloidal clay, so when you add this, make sure that the water is in motion. Otherwise, it's going to turn into a lump of clay. Now again, the bentonite is meant to adhere to the juice particles to keep everything in suspension. What we do next is to add the juice to the bentonite solution. Oops. Now this box of juice contains almost 6 gallons. We'll have to add just a little bit more water to bring it up to the 6-gallon mark. If you get close enough, you can almost smell it. Making wine from juice concentrate is so simple. You add a little more water to rinse out the bag. And now's the time we add our oak flavoring. This is toasted oak. Notice it's going to have a dark toasted color. That's going to give this wine a very smooth taste. It's going to add some more character to the wine. That's why people put wine in oak barrels, to give it an oak flavor, to give it something else besides just the grape taste. We're stirring this in. Very good. And next we add some tepid water. Tepid water is just cool water to bring it up to the right temperature, about 75 degrees. Going to wait until it gets up to the 6-gallon mark, and then we're going to shut it off. Okay. Okay, that's the 6 gallons. We're going to stir in that water and juice. You notice that we didn't need to add much water. There's so much juice in that box of wine juice. And now, for the moment when the juice becomes wine, we add yeast. Look at those yeast multiply. Of course, it doesn't happen that fast, but within several hours the yeast will begin to multiply. Right now I'm going to be putting a top onto this primary fermenter. With an airlock filled with water or potassium metabisulfite. The purpose for this airlock is to keep air contact to a minimum between the juice and the outside, because air has bacteria. We want to keep as much bacteria away from the juice as possible. Our next process is, after a week of this fermenting in this primary fermenter, we're going to rack it into a glass carboy, and I'm going to show you that next.